Hello guys, my name is MomoSeventh and I'm a Blight main that recently almost got to 2,000 wins in a row. We unfortunately lost it at 1,947 wins midway through our 24-hour stream to get from 1,900 to 2,000 wins. The people that broke our streak were stream snipers. They won fair and square. I'm going to be showing their builds later on in the stream and analyzing them, as well as analyzing my own mistakes, the entire game in general, and what I could have done better. For anyone who's curious, the win streak rules are 4K or 3K with hatch. If anyone escapes after all 5 generators are popped, then I do lose the game. I also would like to say, since I have been getting a lot of hate from people on Twitter and Reddit and pretty much all over the internet, I will say I do understand if you do not like me as a person, or if you don't like what I do online. I 100% understand, but I will be getting to the reasons behind my streak, why I do it, and why it is so important to me. I know a lot of people also criticize my reaction to losing the streak, which is something I'll also be talking about during this entire video. It's gonna be a big discussion video, so get your popcorn. Definitely watch the full thing through, and if you have any questions, definitely let me know in the comments. If you have any hate, let me know in the comments. I will be responding to every single one as best I can. So I'm sure many of you might be wondering what type of builds we were using throughout the streak, and what my mindset was for each game. The amount of perks we used was actually quite insane. At one point we were using something like Corrupt, Pain Res, DMS, and Deadlock, just like a full gen block build. At one point we had an insane setup of Corrupt, COB, Eruption, and Agi or Pain Res it was, which was absolutely bonkers. Then at one point we were using something like Corrupt, Pain Res, Pop, and Nowhere to Hide. At one point we gave up Pop because I didn't feel it was that worth it. We used such a wide variety of perks throughout the streak, but the one we were using whenever it was lost was Agitation, Pain Res, Pop, and Grim Embrace, which was pretty damn near the strongest build you could actually use on Blight. The one thing I was slightly holding back on was Agitation instead of Corrupt, but regardless, still a fucking phenomenal build. Absolutely one you should be 4K'ing every game with. I was, however, holding back on my add-ons throughout the entire streak. I opted to use double speed, which, believe it or not, although it is very, very strong, was definitely not the best add-on combination you could have brought. I could have brought Alchemist String, I could have brought Compound 33 at the time, I could have brought Adrenaline Vial, which was arguably the strongest Blight add-on, even the strongest add-on in the game for a very long time. So I was limiting myself slightly on my add-ons. My general mindset for each game, I pretty much red shot 70 to 80% of the game. If I'm being completely honest, if I ever needed to really like pay attention, I'd make sure we secured the win before I went back to range chat. But for the most part, it was just your average public games. I wasn't really sweating per se. I definitely was not holding back whatsoever in terms of my game. How do I say this? My game plan, right? You know, immediate tunnel, not wasting any time. But I wasn't really sweating in the sense that I was trying very hard, like every single chase. No, I was definitely more laid back, and I think that kind of speaks volumes to this game's matchmaking. And maybe if you know, maybe this will be a bit controversial, but definitely the lack of skill that is out there in the player base. But that is an entirely different conversation. So the whole reason I started doing this streak to begin with was because I wanted to branch out as a content creator and grow my stream. I don't normally like to talk about numbers, but since this is a big discussion video, I will be bringing them up. When I first started streaking, I'd want to say I was around about 20 average viewers, maybe 15, something like that. And I was seeing all of these, you know, win streaks that came here and there. I heard about Card Clasher's 650 win streak at the time. That was the longest win streak ever at the time when I first started streaking. And honestly, I saw it as a good opportunity to take my skill in the games and show it off. And also it was a good way for me to actually enjoy my time playing pubs. If you guys don't know, at first I was purely a comp player. I was mainly a comp player before I was even a content creator. And honestly, public matches to me are not the most fun if I don't have some sort of goal in mind, or if I don't have some sort of reason to be doing them. So win streaks kind of gave me not only a good form of content, but they also gave me a reason to play the game, which was obviously very much appreciated. Before this big loss of 1,947, we actually lost the Blight streak 7 times, the highest being 632. So I had some massive dedication to these streaks. And honestly, they kept me having a lot of fun in the game, actually being challenged to stay consistent and focused. And it actually made my streams, I feel, a lot more entertaining, right? Because each game that was actually close actually meant something, you know? And in most games, right, if you're just playing pubs without any sort of streak going on, there's not really much stakes, right? Even if the game is close, I mean, who cares, right, if you win or lose? At least with these win streaks, you know, people who are watching would be invested, right? If I was on a long win streak, the game was close, there'd be something on the line. So this made it so that, you know, we actually had some sort of stakes in each one of our games. So I'm sure many of you might be asking the question, what could I have done better in this specific game? Well, first of all, I do want to say I was 15 hours into stream, so my decision making was not as sharp as it could have been, and I definitely made a lot of game sense mistakes. Surprisingly, however, my mechanics were pretty on point this game. For the most part, I didn't really miss many rushes. Each rush sequence ended in a pallet or a hit, but unfortunately just had some really strong perks and items that made it hard to catch up with all the pressure they were putting up. And even though my chases were fast, my lack of good game decision making was really hurting me. For one, I was very afraid of DH, DS, OTR to the point where I just gave up on a tunnel immediately when it really was not necessary to give up on a tunnel. For two, I definitely should have put on Corrupt as soon as I saw that I was being sniped. In the lobby, I actually did realize that just based on one of the people's names. I recognized them as a comp player, so I realized, okay, I'm sniped, I should have brought Corrupt. That's another big mistake. A third mistake is, you will see later on in this game, I actually had the opportunity to take a pain rush hook onto Dwight. I incorrectly thought I would not have made the pain rush hook without them finishing the gen, so I ended up slugging him. There was another instance later on where I could have committed to Dwight at the bus, and I decided not to. Once again, I don't really know why. So those mistakes were definitely very big, very costly, and definitely something to be learned from that game. A lot of people think that I am making it up that they sniped, but here I have concrete proof that they were intending on sniping me. Not to discredit them, in fact, all the time on stream I openly say, you know what, come snipe me. Obviously I know that this is probably the only way my streak could end, considering I'm playing second strongest killer in the game, as a competitive killer, as one of the best players of that killer with 3 slowdowns in public matches. So honestly, I didn't have a problem with the sniping. Of course, my reaction, which I'll get into later, was very harsh, but once again, I'll explain that later in my circumstances. But yeah, they were sniping, once again, not to discredit them, but for sure they were sniping. This was not the first time we were sniped on streak. We've been sniped a multitude of times before. I have proof as well. One time we actually got sniped by a competitive team on Larry's. They brought us to Larry's and they brought multiple brand new parts. We still managed to somehow pull through a 4K at 3 generators against them. But yeah, I just really quickly wanted to show these screenshots just to prove to everyone that they were indeed sniping. I've been seeing a lot of people saying that, yeah, I've been making it up, but no, they were indeed sniping. So a really big thing that people were pretty upset at me over was my reaction to losing. And yeah, I mean, I will definitely admit my reaction was uncalled for. I called them losers. I said they're garbage. I said they'd get round one-ded by me in any tournament. I just said a bunch of nasty stuff about them, and it was like, you know, the classic trash talk stuff. Obviously no slurs or anything like that, but it was definitely uncalled for, and I acted like a big hypocrite. I complained about their builds. You know, they have multiple step takes, multiple insta heals, so I was pretty upset about a comp team sniping me with that. But honestly, do I really have any room to talk with the type of stuff I've been doing for 1,947 games to Jerry, who just got off his 12-hour shift and is trying to relax on DBD? In my defense, I will say I was 15 hours into the stream. If this had happened at literally any other time, I would not have had as harsh of a reaction, because I wouldn't have been as tired, as hungry, as thirsty as I was at that point, because I was also fasting. I'm celebrating Ramadan. But yeah, no, it was just very bad circumstances for me, and I reacted in the worst way possible. I will say I was very upset that they decided to snipe me at this time. I wished once again that they had sniped me either after I got to 2,000 so I could have celebrated the milestone, or on just a regular stream, because I had already gone so far in the stream. 15 hours in is quite a hefty bit of time to just say, all right, we're done here, and I was very upset about that. People on Twitter and YouTube and Reddit even. There's a Reddit post with like thousands of comments, you know, just kind of dogging on me as a person, which I need to be able to take as a content creator. But a lot of people are you know, sending me death threats, harassing me in DMs, in my server, in my chat. And as I said, as a content creator, I should be able to take it. But I definitely want to just quickly address my reaction and one, apologize to the people for putting them on blast, the people that were sniping me, and also just overall my hypocrisy and the way I handle things. If you'd like to see my full reaction, I don't really have much space for it in this video, but if you want to see my reaction to the game as it was happening, I will of course include a highlight of the last game in the description if you guys would like to see that. I'm not trying to hide anything. I think everyone should go ahead and take a look if you're curious. I know that's what a lot of people want to see. I do just want to say, please try to put yourself in my shoes. You know, you're 15 hours into stream. You got sniped by a competitive team who has been trying for hours to snipe you. While you're 15 hours into the stream, you haven't ate, you haven't drank. You're just trying to make it to that 24-hour mark so you can get to 2,000 and stream, get some sleep. And what you've been working on for over a year gets pretty much destroyed during that time. So I would just like to ask for some empathy. Please try to understand how I was feeling in that situation. And of course, if your evaluation of me is still that I'm a piece of shit human being, I'm not going to argue with that. But that's all I'm saying. Just please try your best to understand what I was feeling. So the last thing I want to really quickly touch base on before I wrap up this video is what is coming up next for my content. So I did, unfortunately, a few days after this actually lose the Oni streak as well on Toba's landing. I was just in a very bad headspace. Map definitely did not help. Event, like, you know, a whole lot of red all over. Couldn't really see much. Just played very poorly in general. So I lost the Oni streak as well. That is something I am actually going to try to bring up to 1,000, even though we lost it. We're already at about like 40, I want to say. Also, past few days, I've been doing a serve win streak with some of my teammates from Petroleum. Right now, we are at about 17. Our goal is to make it to 100 and maybe even try to pass Hens' Swift streak, which I believe he got very, very high. I think it was 270 or 170, one of the two. Either way, very high streak, especially for serve. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited for what the future brings. Honestly, this was a big blessing in disguise. You know, I got a lot of attention from this. My content has grown immensely. A lot of people have found me from this. And now it just, you know, opens up a lot of opportunities for the future. I also am thinking of doing something in the future where I get 100 wins on every single killer, you know, including like Trapper, Pig, all the bad killers, just for fun. So honestly, I'm excited to see where my content goes. And even though we did lose the Blight streak, it really did a lot for me as a content creator. And although this might be a bit corny, I do, it will always be a big thing for me, even if I don't do it again, which, you know, maybe a month or two, might do it again. More updates on that soon. But yeah, regardless, I really do appreciate all of you guys for watching this video in its entirety. I hope it gave some good insight on the streak as a whole, and as well as my loss in the streak, as well as my reaction. Once again, as I said at the start of the video, if you have any questions, any comments, really anything, you know, drop them down in the comments below. I'm going to be trying to respond to every single one. And make sure you try to catch me live, twitch.tv/MomoSeventh, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, at pretty much every single day. And whether or not you like me as a person, I really do wish you a wonderful rest of your day or night or whatever you're doing. I hope you're having a good time. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I will hopefully see you next week in another video.